Today, we're going to be making Stormbreaker from Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Let's get into it. But first of all, the templates for this are going to be down in the description. Also, we got an Instagram. The username is Craftsman_studios. You guys can follow me there. I'm going to be posting updates and I'm going to be posting a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. If you guys want to get a little bit more of that, that's cool. Yeah, let's get into it. So what I did to start out the project was cut out all the pieces from the template. If you want that, you can get it down below. But essentially what I did is that I assembled the axe head first, just because that was the reference material that I was going off of. Now I'm constructing the hammer head. I basically stacked up and supported the cardboard pieces on top of each other based on the reference material that I had from the movies and from online. 3D models are really helpful. I just assembled the support material on the inside. You can see that I used a cup there. That was a lot easier just because it gave the hammer, you know, some rigidity. It gave it some support. Anyways, I'm just adding detail pieces now. You can see that both the hammer and the axe head are finished now. Here I had to drill holes into the actual metal rod that I was going to use to support Stormbreaker. So I'm just drilling holes because I eventually plan to run dowels through the whole thing. Because if you look at my last model, that wasn't as sturdy and it was really falling apart, so I wanted to really keep it together. I'm just using aluminum foil to bulk up the rod just to make it seem like, oh yeah, it's a tree trunk that was part of a walking tree. Anyways, I just wrapped that in electrical tape just to make it smoother. Going on, we have all the pieces finished, so based on that, now we just have to assemble the base of Stormbreaker. So here's me assembling the middle portion of Stormbreaker that's going to support everything. So you can see that I actually added a lot of detail pieces. I just outlined a lot of the curves and edges of it, and based on the reference material. So here is the completed Stormbreaker without paint or without any details, and I honestly think it looks pretty good at this point. And now we had to just paint it. So you can see that we're coming out here, coming to paint. Also guys, safety tip, if you guys are gonna paint, you can see that in the shadow I do have something covering my mouth. That is my respirator. If you guys do this, please do be careful. Spray paint is toxic, and yeah, you know, it's helpful not to inhale spray paint because, you know, your lungs are pretty helpful to your body, I think. Anyways, this is just me hitting it with primer, you know, just getting really primed for paint later. So this is the finished primed Stormbreaker. However, I just looked at Stormbreaker and I knew that with all the creases and the edges, it just really didn't look the way I wanted it to. I really wanted it to be solid, and that's why I decided to, even though I had primed it already, I was going to just cover it in paper mache and then repaint it, just because even though it would lose a little bit of its detail, it was gonna really add that support and rigidity and that solidness that I really wanted it to look like. And I just wanted to keep this section a little longer because I wanted to illustrate that this whole section took me around, yeah, 3 days to just paper mache. You'll see that I jump cut later just because I am so bored of filming at this point that I really just skipped ahead. Gosh. But I think it really gave it the solid feel that I wanted it to, and it didn't just look like cardboard anymore. It looked like a solid thing. You can see me just covering it in some construction paper. I found that this was an alternative to the newspaper that I was using before. It just seemed a lot easier to use, you know? It was just so much easier. So much easier. It was easier to get wet, and in general, it was easier to use. So anyways, here's the finished paper mache. You can see that I didn't film all of it just because there was so much to paper mache. But now I'm going back and I'm priming it now, and you can see that it's so much easier to prime. It's just adhering to the surface a lot better, and I was actually really happy with how it was looking. I had to sand down a couple parts just because they were sticking out, but overall it was looking really good at this point. I hadn't added any of the major detail pieces yet, like the tendrils that go around the middle portion. And then here's me just spray painting the silver onto the hammer. This was, you know, pretty nice at this point, because you can kind of see a little bit of what the finished product will look like. It was looking pretty nice at this point. Here's the silver hammer in all of its glory. Now it was just on to adding the detail pieces. So these tendrils I made out of aluminum foil and electrical tape, and basically here I just painted it in some brown paint. I was running out of brown paint, so I had to really use the most of it, but then I also covered it in Mod Podge too. I covered all the tendril pieces and the handle in Mod Podge. Basically everything that was brown I covered in Mod Podge, just because so the paint wouldn't flake off when I was using it. Made it more solid. Now I just mixed up some silver and gray and black, and I just painted on the detail pieces, because as you see, Stormbreaker, it's not just one solid color. Anyways, we were nearing the end. I just had to paint in some black and some more details in different places, but anyways, like that. Yeah, after an entire month of work, it's finished.
Hey guys, thanks for watching a lot. I really enjoyed this project on many levels, just because, if you guys don't know, I was in a Bobby Duke video last fall, and in that video I showcased a number of props that I had made. One of them was a version of Stormbreaker itself, and in that version you can tell that I was definitely someone who was just toying with the idea of making, and I'm actually really proud of this thing. This really turned out a lot better than I thought it would, honestly. If there was one thing I could change, it would probably be make it a little bit bigger, because actually it is kind of small. Anyways, if you guys want to see a comparison between the one that I built last year and the one that I just built, here it is. I think it's pretty cool, just because the amount of detail has greatly improved. Anyways, if you guys have any suggestions on what I should build in the future, please leave them down in the comments. I'd love to read them, and they're great to see what you guys want and what I want to build, and just in general. Thanks guys, and see you next time. Bye-bye.